Yo, today we're going to do a breakdown of the Xander Zayas, Ennis fight. Now, hopefully you've all seen my preview of the fight. That was the first video that I dropped on this channel. But for those of you that didn't, I'll let you know briefly what I said in that preview. Obviously, I predicted a win for Ennis. I predicted a stoppage. But what I said in terms of Xander was for him to be effective in this fight, competitive in this fight, he had to be able to take Boots' power, and he had to be able to punch between Boots' punches. Because I felt like a lot of people said, he's got to keep it long. Even Xander said, Boots is strong on the inside, strong mid-range. But he said, he ain't fought no one that's kept it long range. So he kind of gave away his tactics. But I always felt like even on the trying to fight on the outside, stick and move, and keep it at a distance, I felt like that wouldn't be particularly helpful for him either, because for me, Boots is quicker. Boots was more explosive. So I always said that would just be a ticking time bomb for me. It would just be a ticking time bomb. I always said for Xander to be competitive, not just survive, be competitive in this fight, he had to be able to withstand Boots' power and punch between Boots' punches, because that's where Boots is vulnerable. Boots gets greedy. Boots gets overconfident, and that's what happened. Like, most of what I said played out in the fight. However, I would say that I don't think it was like what I said would be effective for Xander to punch between Boots' punches, which he ended up kind of doing. I don't think he planned to do that. I don't think he planned to fight. I feel like he actually planned to at least start off the fight at range and kind of warm into the fight and then pick his spots where he can punch in between Boots' punches. I feel like that's what the general tactics from him in his corner was. However, when he stepped out into round one and tried to get the feelers, he tried to have a round one, let me get the feelers out there, do you know what I mean? Bit of posturing and whatnot. He did not anticipate. Boots was not here for any feeling out rounds. He was not here for that. Boots came out with a double jab. Double jab. First round, straight away. And that double jab, we didn't see it throughout the fight. You know why? Because all he wanted to do was find his range, find his distance. From that double jab is touching, boom, right hand's coming behind it. After that right hand comes behind it, he's moving his feet. Now he's in range. Now he's in mid-range. Now he's in close range. Now he's letting off all the power punches he has in his arsenal. And he has all of them, and they're all effective. He punches almost as strong with his right and left hand. He's going downstairs, upstairs, uppercuts, hooks, everything. You move out of range, he's hitting you with that jab again. He's hitting you with a right straight. And that's what threw Xander off course and kind of forced Xander to fight, because that fight or flight mode kicked in. Once he got hurt, once he got knocked down, he said it after the fight. He even said it. He said, listen, I didn't, because everyone kept saying to him, you feel like you fought the wrong game plan. You know what I mean? You kind of fell into Boots' hands. But Xander said, he said, nah, he said, listen, I didn't intend to fight like that. He said, I was hurt. He hurt me. My legs were gone for a couple rounds. So I had to stand in the pocket and trade. And hats off to him, because that was fight or flight. Listen, round one, that uppercut, if you go back and look at that wasn't a flash knockdown. That was not a flash knockdown. That was a serious punch to recover from. Round one as well, catching you cold. Yeah, catching you cold, almost blindsided as well from that uppercut, because when that double jab is coming in his face like that, just like that, if an uppercut is coming from under there, you ain't seeing it until it lands on your chin, or you might not even see it at all. You're just, all of a sudden, you're on the canvas. So yeah, he showed good heart to get back up off the canvas. Like I said, fight or flight kicked in. He chose to fight. Like he said, his legs were gone, so he kind of had no choice. But I feel like he started to get a little bit of joy, because like I said, he was punching in between Boots' punches. Boots is getting greedy now. Yeah? But what Xander could have done is not fight so clean. Because you're not the quicker man. I think Xander's used to being quicker, more explosive. He's never fought a guy that's quicker, more explosive, more fast twitch than him. But this is something that I feel like Xander had the better corner in terms of coaches, like with their game plans, with their... I feel like with Boots, he's so talented, ballsy, and that they kind of get him in shape. They get him like fight ready. Obviously, they have a game plan, but they don't have to rely on the game plan as much. Whereas with Xander, the coaches, they always have to rely on a game plan with him. But the one thing I think they missed from the game plan was to tell Xander, you don't have to fight clean. And this isn't a fight where you have to fight clean. You're clearly the bigger man. Clearly. You now have to use that size. So a little bit of Devin Haney tactics where as soon as you get off, don't allow Boots to respond. Smother him, clinch him, lean on him, let the ref break it up, reset. Obviously, Boots is going to always have joy in spells, but as soon as you get yours off, because what Boots has a bit similar to Crawford, where Crawford, maybe his one vulnerability was, if you hit Crawford's trying to get that back straight away. And sometimes that's the wrong thing to do because you walk into shots. So, and that's what Boots has. The more you hit Boots, the more you get him vexed, the more you piss him off, the more he is coming forward with bad intentions. And that's what happened. He was getting touched in between his punches, and he walked onto a big shot from Xander, 3rd round. Rocked him. One thing I don't like about Boots is he doesn't keep it real in like interviews. Like, he was trying to say, no, I just got lazy. No, you got rocked, bro. His eyes were pinging. Like, anyone who's, do you know what I mean, been in or around the sport, they know when a boxer gets hit, some boxers are very good at covering it up, like masking it up that they're hurt. But you know what's always a telltale sign? Sometimes it's not the legs, because sometimes their legs are still there, but their eyes. If you look at Boots' eyes when he got hit in that 3rd round, for at least 30 to 45 seconds, his eyes were pinging like he was in a house rave on drugs. His eyes were pinging. Like, that's his senses, his nervous system is screaming right now. That's what was happening. So, but yeah, Boots again, even in that situation, even hurt like that, he was still, his first instinct was to throw back and throw even harder and try and hurt you. Granted, what Boots done though, what Xander didn't do enough is, there's times when he was like, no, listen, even I need to clench, right? He would clench your arm because he couldn't really fully hold Xander. He was too big, but he'll lock up an arm or two and get like a little 5-second breast or break, a little 5 seconds rest at least. But just before he got hit as well, if you go back, roll back the tape to round 3, before he got hit, even round 2 and round 3, before he got hit, he was clearly going for the kill, yeah? Because he had Xander hurt, dropped round 1. He was trying to finish Xander off early. His corner, now I can't hear exactly what they're saying to Boots, but it's obvious, yeah? You can kind of read between the lines. His corner was telling him to slow down. His corner were basically trying to warn him, you're going to walk into something. And then after, you heard Bowsy, even heard Boots say, they were telling him, like, less power. Let the shots flow more. Focus on your speed, because Xander could take a shot. He was taking some big punches. And the ones what dropped him generally were, there was one, he got dropped one where it was like a cumulative. But there was at least the 2 out of the 3 knockdowns were shots that he didn't see. That's through speed. Yeah, that's through speed. So that's what his corner were telling him the right things. Boots' corner were telling him the right things. But Boots' 2 biggest flaws, yeah, mentality, because like I said, his mentality is if he gets hit, he returns. He wants to fight fire with fire at all times. That's his mentality. Pride as well. So that mentality, yeah, is great to watch. It's great TV. But if you, not all the time you can fight fire with fire, because someone else might have more fire than you. So if that's like, sorry to be so kind of graphic and violent, but you go to a gunfight, cool. You got a spinner. The person you're in a gunfight with is clipped up. You've obviously got less. Do you know what I mean? You got less bullets than your opposition. But as soon as a shot gets fired after you, you're emptying. Do you know what I mean? And then what happens? Now you've run out, and your opposition has got fire. So like, who knows? Boots might get through his whole career always having more fire than the opposition. So it might not even work out. It might always work out in his favor. But he might be in a fight where the opposition has more fire than him. So when he's trying to fight fire with fire, it might not work out in his favor. This is what I mean by you can't always fight fire with fire. And remember that the higher up he goes in weights, yeah, because Xander rocked him because he walked onto a shot. Boots has got a good chin. And Xander isn't the biggest puncher. So I know a lot of people are kind of putting one-on-one together and thinking, hold on a minute, so how's he going to beat Virgil or Fundora when they're bigger punches than Xander? But what it is he walked onto the punch. It's always different when you walk onto a punch, you know what I mean? Boots has got a chin. Don't get it twisted, but his mentality of fighting fire with fire means that he's always at risk. He's always at risk. So you would hope or you would think that the corner will kind of try and but it's very hard to change a fighter's mentality. That's one thing that's hard to change for a fighter. That's like stubborn habits, like just from your mentality, from your pride. Do you know what I mean? That's very hard to change. But if they can, they'll like that's one of the biggest flaws in this game. If they can change that somehow, which I doubt, but if they could change that, he'd virtually be unstoppable. The other thing, which I say is his biggest flaw, I can only see 2 flaws in his game. And the other thing, because all this thing about defense, I don't see a flaw in his defense. His defense is pretty good. He's got a good chin. His defense is actually pretty good. It's just that, like I said, he chooses to fight fire with fire. And then the other thing is confidence. His confidence is his power, but his confidence is also a little bit of overconfidence, which is to his detriment. And when I mean overconfidence, it's like he'll always back himself, even when sometimes you should be a little bit more cautious. And because of his confidence, he will stay in the pocket and trade, even when he shouldn't. Because of his confidence, he's always willing to take one to give one, because he has confidence in his chin and he's got confidence in his power. So he's always confident that, okay, I could take your shot, you can't take my shot. But do you know what I mean? That's always leaving you open to chance. That's always giving your opponent a chance. You know, when people say the fighter's got a puncher's chance, you're always giving your opponent a puncher's chance. So that's the other biggest flaw in this game for me. Apart from that, Boots is sound, man. People talk about defense, he gets hit too much. Bullshit. They don't like bullshit. It's not, his defense isn't a problem. He actually has good defense. You say he gets hit too much. He's never been dropped. Benavidez has been dropped twice. They don't say Benavidez gets hit too much. We just saw Bam Rodriguez getting hit with multiple combinations by, okay, he was an Olympian, but he wasn't like, the guy he was fighting wasn't, do you know what I mean? He wasn't that level of fighter to be getting with combinations. Do you know what I mean? Boots was in range walking onto shots from Xander for a couple of rounds, but he wasn't getting backed up by jabs into a corner and then getting hit with combinations like 2, 3, 4, 5. like Bam Rodriguez. Do you know what I mean? So we have to kind of keep things relative when we speak about fighters. He ain't been dropped like a Nue. Cool, he hasn't been in with. Bam's probably been in with how many elite fight? What, Estrada maybe is probably his big highest level of fighter maybe. You know what I mean? Sonny Edwards is an elite boxer. But when you're talking fighters, like I'm talking about fighters that could hurt you. Because what I'm about to say is Bam's been dropped, Inue's been dropped, Benavidez has been dropped, Boots ain't. But what people would then say is that, well, yeah, but who is he fought? Okay, but Boots is fighting at a higher weight class, at a weight class where it's bigger guys, where a guy doesn't have to be technically brilliant at that weight. Like, you can get dropped. You walk onto shot. This is why I say when Boots moves up, he's moved up to 154. When he moves up to 160 and whatnot, even when he goes and fights the likes of Fondora and Virgil, because they're at 154 now, but trust me, they can't be at 154 for too long. Cause they like Xander. Xander probably blew up to 180. They'll blow up to not far off of that either. They're big, like on fight night, they're big guys. So it's a little bit different when you talk about, oh yeah, but who is he for? Yeah. But it's more different, isn't it? When you're getting dropped by, do you know what I mean? Bantamweights and whatnot. It's different to getting hit by, yeah, do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's on Boots' side. Yeah, I say an A performance. A performance. Of course, it's not top tier or position, but on his performance, I say an A performance. I think the only thing which stops it from being an A plus is greediness. He got greedy, didn't listen to his corner either. So I could even say a B plus, A minus maybe. Yeah. For Xander, I think he needs to use his size more. You can't always rely on being the better boxer, the better fundamentals, the better game plan. You need to use your size more. You've got that size. You need to use it. You're not always going to be the better boxer. You're not always going to be you're not always going to have it your way. And these are things you should have known when it comes to Boots. Listen, people were putting out their myths about his footwork and his defense and whatnot. Listen, Boots hasn't got better footwork than Xander, no, but his footwork isn't terrible. That's number one. His footwork isn't the best though, I say that. But his defense is good. He does have good defense. Like, until Xander, you don't really see Boots getting hit flush. You see him getting hit, of course, he's in the pocket for 90% of his fights. He's going to get hit. But a lot of them, he's turning with it. A lot of them, he's half catching. A lot of them, he sees it coming. Against Xander, he walked onto a big one. And then once he was rocked, did anyone see that? The right straight knocked his head all the way back. So how can you now say you wasn't hurt? If you wasn't hurt, because you see the one where it knocked his head back, that wasn't a like he wasn't blindsided by that. It was a straight right between the guards. Yeah, he's seen that punch coming, but because he's so hurt, he's rocked right now. He couldn't get out of the way of it. He couldn't do anything to stop it. He's seen that punch come all the way, but him seeing the punch come, he could brace himself. So that's what allowed him to stay on his feet even more. So yeah, but Xander, moving on to Xander, I feel like he can learn from this. Definitely he can learn from this. He needs to learn to be a bit more savvy in the ring, bit more ring generalship. Use your size, impose your size, especially if you're fighting someone that's a little bit more skilled than you. Use your size, punch and clinch when you have to. And yeah, apart from that, I think Xander will go on to have a good career. But I know the majority of this has been, probably 80% of this has been giving flowers to Boots, but I feel like that's what's been missing from the breakdowns, what I've seen, the reviews of the fight. I've seen most of the breakdowns and reviews of the fight, I've seen everyone giving like the 80% of their analysis has been congratulations and complimentary things about Xander, where it's like, and then when they speak about Boots, they always focus on the negatives. It's like, Boots won the fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can never give, like, it doesn't matter the circumstances, the winner always has to get the most praise. It doesn't matter the circumstances, you know what I mean? If you lose in a valiant way, cool, you get praise as well, but the winner has to get the most praise, the majority of the praise. And we have to remember, the winner wasn't the champion. The winner was the challenger. The winner wasn't the champ. He was the challenger. So yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Always forget. I was supposed to do this like 2 minutes in. I get told you need to promote better. Do you know what I mean? After like a minute, tell them to subscribe and whatnot. I always forget. So please, if you can, just drop a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. Yeah, we'll be back with more videos, regular updates. Might do a little pound for pound discussion soon. So yeah, stay tuned, man. Love.